Hello all, welcome to the Midweek Mix-Up Weekend Edition with myself, the WandrinDutch, and my co-host, the General C. How are you,
Hello.
how are you doing today, sir? What you been up to? What you been playing?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Not really been playing a whole bunch of games, to be honest. Friday was the last time I actually played something, and that was Little Nightmares. I only played it for like 2.5 hours on stream. Can't really say I know what's going on with the story there, but that game is proper creepy, and I'm
Yes.
enjoying it nonetheless. It's it's so creepy, and I like the way the game makes you think in like moments of pressure when you're being chased by like the boss with the long creepy arms.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call him Mr. Hands because he's super creepy. Like you have to sort of study the boss and understand like that he can't actually hear you if you're on specific parts of the map, the levels. I mean, like if you're on carpet, he can't hear
Yep.
because like the character itself is blind, so he can only hear you if you're on like creaky floorboards or you knock something over. Yeah, that's pretty much as far as I got. I beat that boss and then ended my stream, and I'm going to continue that next Friday. So that's going to be my Friday game. Every Friday, I'm going to come back, do a boss on that, and then hopefully chip away at that game, do a DLC, and then come back to the sequel.
Nice. Nice. And what about Jedi? Have you got back into that at all this weekend so far, or?
No, not yet. No, I didn't have a chance to yesterday. I was far too busy and far too exhausted by the time it came around to stream time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a bit of a hectic week.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Of course, with the showcase, which we'll dive into. And everything that came after that, the fallout of the showcase. It's pretty much what this episode is going to be today. We're going to have a full kind of discussion about everything that's in the that happened in the showcase and everything that followed from the showcase. As a lot more details came out about certain things and what hasn't happened or has happened. So it's going to be interesting. But yeah, I've been I dived in. That dived isn't a word really. Dove into Planet of Lana. I finished that. I didn't get the achievement for without dying on first playthrough, so I'm gonna go back and attempt to do an entire playthrough without dying. Easier said than done because you make the littlest of friggin' mistakes and that's it. You're out falling to your death or uh, just stupidity, or you accidentally call your little cat creature thing into the path of a fucking something that kills it, and that's it, dad. So you need to start again. So yeah, awesome game though, awesome game. And whilst we're talking about everything else that happened this week in the Sony stuff, I've got some awesome droves in. Thanks, Asa. Asa's coming in with the illogical grammar just to follow in on mine. Thank you. But yeah, so in the background, whilst we're talking about what was the Sony PlayStation Showcase and everything that came through it and after it, we've got some awesome Planet of Lana gameplay. So I'm going to put that on for you guys right now. Here we go. Terrific. So yeah, but Planet of Lana, absolutely fantastic little indie. There's been so many brilliant indies this year as well already. Only just come off the back of playing and completing Ravenlock, and Ravenlock was absolutely fantastic.
That's one I need to get back to.
Yes.
I played it for about 2 hours and I really enjoyed it, but I've just been between games, like when I have been gaming, and I've not really stuck to anything solidly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And this is what the kind of mood that I'm in as well. I asked Jordan, who reviewed it. I was just said like, how long is it? And he's like, oh, about 6 hours. I'm like, hallelujah. And it's actually less than that. A full run through takes about 4.5. If you're getting all the shrines and stuff, you're probably looking at about 5 hours. If you manage to do it first time without dying, then of course you've just finished the game in about 5.5 hours. If you haven't, then you'll obviously have to do another playthrough, so it'll take another 4.5 hours to do that. But Yeah, it's about anywhere between 4 and 6 hours, depending on how careful you're being with some of your stealthy moments. But the audio, the music, the art style, absolutely quality. It is a stealthy game. Um, you don't have any attacks to kill anything. If you do kill things, it's all about using the surroundings to take out any enemies. So whether or not it be like drop a boulder on their head or make them fall off a cliff or something like that. It's all about being cunning and smart with the way that you kind of bait them into a trap, basically. But the game's phenomenal. It's such a great story as well, and it's a story told without words. It's all done on visuals and the sound, and it's so well done. And for anybody who hasn't played it yet, absolutely jump on it. It's well worth your time. And like I say, it's only 4.5 hours start to finish. If you're not too bothered about achievements or finding all the shrines and everything like that, and you just want to play the story, then you can do that game in like 4 hours, 4.5. Phenomenal game. I think you'd love it, Jen, to be fair, especially if you want to have just a chill sesh.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I'm going to play. I think I've got it installed on my Xbox in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Don't have it installed in the Xbox on here. I think it's on the Xbox in my bedroom. I can't remember. I think I have it installed there. It's only a small game, so it shouldn't take long to install, even if I haven't.
Yeah. It'll hit you right in the feels as well. You'll like it. You'll like it. No, just so well done. So well done. I'm so glad. But again, wishfully, they've been putting out some absolutely amazing amazing indie games recently. They're kind of going up there alongside the likes of Devolver, where no matter what the release on an indie game front, it always seems to be an absolute hit. And they kind of just one after another, they keep releasing these awesome games. So, congrats on Wishfully and all the team behind Planet of Lana. Fantastic work. I'd probably give it maybe a 9 out of 10. There's not much that can be improved within it. I've had no technical faults, no issues like that. The obstacles were fine. They weren't too over the top. They were quite easy to solve. The puzzles and things like that. I think it did what it needed to do. I don't think it required combat, although people will take that into consideration, that there's like no form of fighting back or anything like that. I cannot fault the art style. I cannot fault the soundtrack. I love the fact that there wasn't any kind of voice acting, like I say, other than them shouting Lana and Lino towards each other, which was the two sisters' names. Apart from that, and the little cat type thing that you have as your little sidekick, you don't really speak to anybody, or there's no words, which is good, and it's all about kind of an earthly invasion of giant robots that try to take over, and kind of fighting to rescue mankind, as it were. It's really good, really well done. Some nice little set piece moments and things like that, where you kind of zoom in through the desert on a giant robot spider, and you have to kind of dodge loads of different other flying kind of robots and stuff when you're on the way through. But such a great game, and so well done. So I can't wait to see what all of you guys think when you finish playing it. I know Boxy's been playing it in the chat there. I know Pat's been playing a little bit of it as well on stream the other day. But yeah, I think you'll absolutely love it, 100%.
I'll probably give it a try throughout the week if I get a chance to get on my Xbox.
Yeah, like I say, this year's been absolutely fantastic for indie games. Ravenlock back to back with Planet of Lana, two absolute smash hits when it comes to indie games. Both of them phenomenal on the story side. Really stand out with both of their visual aspects as well, and great stories for both of them. So, congrats to both. Congrats. But yeah, that's all I've been playing really. Other than, like I say, the weekend before, I'd been playing a bit of Street Fighter 6, and I'm looking forward to that. And that releases next week. I know you've got a little bit.
Mortal Kombat better.
Yeah, we'll not start this. I know you've been waiting on Mortal Kombat as well.
Hmm. I can't wait for the 8th of June when we're going to see gameplay for that.
Yeah, exactly. And Asa says, if only anyone would take the time to showcase indie games every now and again. I know it's like Asa, it's like as if there's not a showcase now every 2 years called the Community Indie Showcase. Who would have known? um, but yeah, phenomenal. But I'm super looking forward to Street Fighter 6. I've just been talking to my friend as well before we started about Street Fighter and all the different things and his plan on going to Evo this year and well next year and fighting an Evo. Um, yeah, it's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a fun time. It's definitely the year of the fighting games. We've got potentially Tekken alongside Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter.
Hmm.
It's gonna be
Yep.
good
Big
times.
year for fighting games.
Big year. No matter what you like, there's something for you. That's in case unless you're a Killer Instinct fan, in which case that there's nothing there for you this year. But anything else, absolutely, there's something there. Um, but yeah, can't wait for Street Fighter. It's really enjoyed my time on the beta. Enjoyed my time on the demo, but I'm just looking forward to getting back on it when it's released. And then, of course, straight after that, within a matter of days, we've got the early access for the Diablo 4 drop as well, and that
Hmm.
releases. And that's another game I can't wait for. It's going to be amazing.
Too many games. Too
I'm
many games coming out.
going to lose so much time of my life. My life is going to disappear. Diablo 4 is going to eat it
Yeah,
all up.
I'm gonna hold out for both of those. I think for a bit. I don't think I'm gonna get them day one.
Yeah.
I've
You
already
might
got
change your
so much
mind.
I need to catch up on. I don't need to add 2 more games to that list right now. I've got Jedi Survivor to get to. I've barely scratched the surface of Dead Island. I had like an hour on that a couple of weeks ago since launch, and
Yeah.
I just need to get back into it because that's a really fun time as well. And I've been watching my dad play that, and he's completed it. He's almost 100%ed the game, to be honest. I think he's just got a handful of achievements to get, and then he's done with that. A couple of them are going to be co-op, so I'm probably going to jump in and play co-op with my dad on Dead Island, get a few of those achievements. But yeah, it's just too many games that I need to get back to. But because my brain's all over the place at the minute, I can't stick to one thing, and
Yep.
I don't need 2 more games
That's why I've been
to get
diving
in the
into these
way.
indie games recently
Mm,
because I just don't have like my mind power is just not fixating on some of these big games.
mm.
So when someone's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
there's a 6 hour," there's a less than 6 hour indie game that you can finish and it's brilliant. I'm like, "Oh, that's me sorted." A nice short arse game to sit
mm.
and play.
Yeah, I'm really distracted when it comes to gaming lately. Like
Yeah,
the only games that are my constants is like Hunt Showdown, but every now and then I'll take a break from Hunt Showdown, and I'm back to playing that, or trying to get back into that. But I've not really had a chance to game all that much this week. I've only played Hunt once, and that was a bit on stream. Uh, I'd also been playing DayZ, but I'm kind of bored of that now because I played it too much.
yeah,
And any big single player game, I just find it hard to stick to. It's not been a game that's come out that's had my full attention, and that's more of a me issue, not the games that I've been playing.
yeah.
Just I'm sort of all over the place with gaming at the moment. I don't know. Maybe that's a gaming burnout thing or whatnot.
It could be a bit of both. It could be a bit of both,
Mm.
but at least we've got a lot of games to look forward to and things that we're going to pile up in our lovely backlogs. Um, but you're
You
not.
can't say backlog by Box and Burgers in chat.
I know they
He
don't
doesn't
exist.
believe in backlogs.
They don't exist. It does when they're coming out so frequently at the minute, though. You're going to end up with a backlog regardless.
Mm,
Boxenberger knows that. Like, is little to zero chance that Boxy will be able to get through both Zelda and all of um Diablo which is like level 100, especially when they've got that competition out now at the minute, which is the first 1,000 to get to level 100 gets their name, a gamer tag, and printed onto a giant Lilith statue. So,
Isn't there like a controversy about that?
well, yeah, they're thinking like all the people that have reviewed it are going to have an upper
Mm.
hand because they know all the quick ways to get around things.
Yeah, they shouldn't be.
Shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah, they shouldn't be allowed. I can't remember the word. I'm being dumb. But yeah, that shouldn't be allowed. If you've played the game in like early access,
Yeah, it's like an
you've
unfair
been given a
advantage.
review code or whatever, you shouldn't be allowed to be involved in that competition. That should be a day one launch for people that haven't had any time with that game.
Yeah, definitely. Looking on the chat
That's the
as
one.
well. Yeah, that's what. ASA says
Disqualified.
disqualified, ineligible, smelly.
My brain isn't working at the moment. I don't even know comprehend what words are anymore.
Smelly. Jesus Christ. Let's have a look. Let's see what people are playing in the chat as well, actually. So Boxy is playing. I'm also playing a little indie called Tears of the Kingdom. That's not an indie. Come on. What else? Bailey making rent's also been stuck on Zelda. Who else? What else we got here? Happy Cloud just want Fallout New Vegas 2. Yeah, we'll see.
Speaking of Fallout New Vegas, the game is free on Epic at the moment with all content.
Nice.
Or
there
it was. I think it's still free. I saw something earlier about it being free.
Boxy's being
I managed to grab
slanderous
it
today. Boxy's being slanderous. He says Tears of the Kingdom definitely looks indie. Yes, it does. It does.
There's like 3 hours left for getting Fallout New Vegas for free with all content. So if you haven't got it yet, go to Epic Games Launcher and grab that for free.
Bailey McRent also says I need to finish Jedi Survivor, but Zelda owns me right now. Happy Cloud Gamer says, P.S. I'm just going to have no life when Starfield is out. I'm a Bethesda fanboy.
I did play something else today. I totally forgot about it though, because my mind's just terrible. I played Warhammer 40,000 Gladius. It's a bit like Civilization games.
Yep.
It's free on Steam at the moment because they had their what's their event called where they show off their Games Workshop, their video games and stuff. I'm blanking on the name of their event. Skulls. Yeah, there's up to 90% off on Warhammer games and such, and Warhammer 40,000 Gladius is free.
Nice. Awesome stuff. That's about it, actually. That seems to wrap that one up. But yes, Boxy says, I'm also playing the I can't decide whether or not to get the ally. Do it. Just do it. Get it. Why not? Have fun. Enjoy it. But yes, straight to the main and only big topics really we've got for today, which is the backlash of the Sony conference. So, we all went into this hyped. We shouldn't be keeping ourselves our expectations down at this point because it has been 2 years since PlayStation had a showcase. So there's definitely no chance I was going into this keeping my expectations in check. I fully expected Sony to come out and do something. Unfortunately, we were left a little bit, actually a lot underwhelmed. Before I kind of get into the nitty gritty of it, what were your, having sat on it now, having watched it back, what are your thoughts? Your overriding thoughts?
I'm still sitting at a very mid show. I think like 4 of the games announced were first party.
Yep.
Most of them third parties, of course, and most of those multi-platform. So what was the point of this show? I said the same about the Xbox showcase last year when it was the Xbox Bethesda showcase and they did the whole 12 months thing and they didn't show barely anything from first party. I said, what was the point of the show? I'm watching your show, whether it be PlayStation or Xbox, to see PlayStation or Xbox games.
Yeah.
I'm not there to see a showcase that's filled with like 80 to 90% multi-platform or third-party games.
Yeah.
If this wasn't a PlayStation showcase, then yeah, it would have been fine. We would all be happy about it, but it's a PlayStation showcase at the end of the day. So you've got to call it where it needs to be called. Did the same for Xbox, doing the same for PlayStation. It's about keeping that same energy at the end of the day. And I know that's a stupid and cringy statement to say, but you have to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Completely agree. Absolutely have to keep the same energy. It was, again, we went into this showcase thinking it's been 2 years. It's about damn time that they did something. They need to do
And
something.
that was the biggest disappointment about it. The fact that it had been 2 years since their last E3 like showcase. And they had this to offer.
Yep. And I went into it specifically thinking, okay, what we're going to see. I know there's only Spider-Man this year. They've essentially come out and said we've only got Spider-Man for financial year 2023. So we need to see what's happening in 24, what's potentially lined up for 25.
They didn't really show that. They showed a bunch of trailers for live service games that could be multiple years out.
Yep. Far too far out. Far too far out. Not only that, and I want to touch on that by barely making rent as well, showcasing a handheld device that can only be used in the house and only connected via Wi-Fi direct.
You mean the thing that looks like
point?
2 controllers snapped in half and glued to a tablet device?
Yeah, what's the point?
That thing is ugly. That thing is pointless. The only use for that is if you need to go and take a big smelly turd and you don't want to leave your game behind and you're that addicted to gaming that you have to take your gaming to the lavatory with you.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't just pause it and go and do something else.
Draw the line, man. Come on. Gaming ain't that important that you need to lay a big turd and play your games at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna miss out on this round of Call of Duty that I can't miss out with the boys because they need me on the battlefield. Just quit the game and come back in 15 minutes time or however long it takes you to drop deuce.
Yep. And it's not only that, it's the fact that your PlayStation has to be turned on anyway. You can't use it without the PlayStation turned on.
So and your games have to be installed to the PlayStation 5 as well. So what is the actual point of this device?
Yep. Can't take it anywhere. Can't do anything with it. It's just such a weird choice. Such a weird choice. I don't understand why they've went that route. Surely there's more they could do. Surely. Hopefully it has the technology built into it so that when they do have cloud streaming available, they'll be able to just upgrade it with a firmware patch and add that capability. But so far, it's just a second screen. That's all it is.
I would have much preferred like a PSP, PS Vita type thing. This was very underwhelming. That handheld, pointless device.
Yep. Oh, completely. Really, really pointless.
I'll never get over the design for that either. It's the most horrendous looking thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I even took the piss out of it by putting 2 controllers on my bed and then balancing my Nintendo Switch screen on it. And somehow that got almost 200 likes.
Yeah. Because people saw the funny side and also agree. That's exactly what it looks like. Yeah, strange business idea. Not sure what they were thinking, and I don't understand who they're thinking they're aiming this for. I really don't. And especially, we know they're going to charge like $300 for it.
They're aiming this towards the husband of a wife that likes to watch soap operas like EastEnders of an evening, and he gets kicked out of the living room, and he's got to go play his handheld device.
Nah, but even
he can't leave his PlayStation alone for 10 minutes.
Nah. See, no, because I know, because I've got mates like that. Them type of hubbies will just turn it off and then they'll not play it again until whenever they get another spare hour. They don't switch it into another controller and do that. But the vast majority of people these days have got a second fucking screen somewhere in the house. You know what I mean? Like, not every household has just one TV now. We know for a fact that sarcastic. Every house, I know, every house has at least 2 screens. At least. There's no chance you're just going, oh yes, okay, you go and watch your soaps and I'll just do fuck all. Yeah. Nah. Yeah, pointless device. Pointless device. And it's clear from chat.
I don't see it selling. Yeah. I don't see it selling whatsoever.
It's clear from chat as well that everyone's kind of on the same. Bailey Making Renton said, "Oh, and don't forget the AirPods." Yeah, let's just forget the AirPods, shall we?
I can see this being the type of thing that someone impulse buys, regrets it, and then either sells it or it's just designated as a giant paperweight.
The Sony diehards are going to buy them, but that's it. And I mean the diehards, the people that just love buying technology for the sake of buying technology, not because they need it, just because they want to have it. That's it. No normal person is walking into a shop and asking for a glued together Switch controller screen thing. Nor are they going to get Sony PlayStation AirPods. Nope.
Yeah, AirPods that are going to be over expensive and last about 2.5 hours while you're listening to some music or a podcast. About enough time for a podcast, I guess. So that's a positive. So if you want to listen to Midweek Mix Up and you've got those PlayStation wireless headphones.
Yeah. You might just cover the entire show.
Unless it's one with special Nick on.
Few comments from the chat here. Mr. Otanas says, after almost 2 years, people definitely were expecting more, but aside from Spider-Man 2, not even with a release date, not really much to look forward to was shown. Happy Cloud Gamer says, if PlayStation Showcase had ended with a new IP we did not expect, like a new Uncharted teaser, it would have been a B-, but that was a D.
I also think the show started weird. Like, why start with Haven, a studio that's new?
Yeah.
They could have started with Spider-Man and...
No, because then it would have just went rapidly downhill.
True.
I
guess it was smart.
Because I'm sure just before Spider-Man they had the stupid PlayStation peripherals. And the Gran Turismo.
Wasn't it the Gran Turismo trailer?
Yeah. So they would have ended on Gran Turismo.
Why? Why is there a movie trailer in a gaming showcase?
Oh dear God.
It's almost as awkward as when The Rock showed up and started talking about his energy drink.
Yeah.
At Jeff Keighley's, was it last year's Summer Game Fest he did that?
Yeah. It was absolutely insane. And what else we got here? Mr. Artanas again saying, don't get me wrong, the multi-plat games were cool, however, branding it PlayStation Showcase, not a state of play, seemed really unnecessary.
I said that at the end of the podcast / watch along that we did on Wednesday. I said it felt like a state of play. It felt like an extended state of play.
Yeah. See if anything else. No, I think that's pretty much it there. Happy Cloud says, of course, there is a new cloud streaming service coming from PlayStation, so I think it will come the same day as this PS handheld. You've got to hope. You've got to hope. Captain Logan says, I enjoyed the games that were shown, especially the VR section, but I didn't see much I won't be able to get on Xbox, which is a shame. Overall, a good show. Yeah, from a
with the VR section, what in that VR section was actually PlayStation's own game? Don't think there was there?
No. It was just games coming to play.
Why are they so invested in VR? And it doesn't seem like they've got anything to offer people first party for VR.
They haven't got anything to offer people first party anyway. For being blunt.
They've got all these PlayStation IPs that they could be doing VR experiences with, like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Upcoming Wolverine.
Then again, you'd probably like throw up if you were playing Spider-Man VR.
They could do something with one of their first-person shooter IPs, like taking all those old Killzone games and doing them in VR.
Yeah, I think Captain Logan
IPs that you're doing nothing with.
What we're saying really isn't that they're not doing VR. It's that PlayStation first party aren't offering anything VR. They're having to rely on third party to do the VR. Like they're doing a VR section, but they aren't showing their own games. Like there's nothing they've got that they're developing that's being shown off.
Not anything. Doesn't seem like there's anything in the pipeline from PlayStation that is their own games VR.
And that's what we want to see. Ultimately, we want to see them make the most of their own VR headset. That's what I'd like to see. But we were expecting Resident Evil 4 VR. I mean, Crossfire is just going to be a dumpster fire. I hope people don't use money on that. We've absolutely seen what Crossfire was like on Xbox. Do not make the mistake of buying Crossfire on VR. Don't do it. It is not going to play like it looks on the screen. We all know that. It's a friendly warning now from someone who bought Crossfire on Xbox. I bought it. I didn't play it on Game Pass. I bought that game. Do not get tricked.
I'm glad I didn't buy that game.
Yeah.
That game was tragic.
Yeah.
Just dialing the bloody controls in was a nightmare.
Mm-hmm. And even then, that was just a stopgap. It didn't really help that much. It just made it playable, kind of.
It made it bearable, tolerable.
Yeah. Ace has come in. He's like, VR, eh? Cool. You can't stop me. Well, on your wallet be it.
My issue's not with VR. My issue is they've got nothing on offer for people that have bought their VR.
From a first-party perspective.
From the first party.
Third-party.
Like most of the games that have come to VR so far are old VR games.
Yeah. Acer?
Or Horizon, which is kind of a knockoff of a different VR game.
Acer, on your head be it if you want to spend money on Crossfire. On your head be it. on your wallet be it. Sorry, not your head. On your wallet be it. Dear me. No, I understand people are excited for VR. Of course, there's a lot of VR enthusiasts, which is fine. But I wish Sony would have actually put more effort into showcasing something that they were making.
Yeah, that's my issue with Sony and their VR is that it doesn't seem like they're all that confident in their own first party in VR.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Mr. Otanis as well says, you don't wait almost 2 years for a showcase and just hold back because of ongoing Activision. Yeah, I don't think they held back either, to be fair. Oh, no. In terms of Captain Logan, I can understand if you're excited for VR. I'd be absolutely excited for VR. I'm just looking through the chat as well section now. I'm glad you enjoyed what was shown in VR. The only one I'd say be careful of is the Crossfire one. Do not get excited for that. That's just going to be smoke and mirrors. It's going to play like shit. Enjoy the rest of it, though.
Unless it's a massive surprise.
I mean, I would not play Resi Evil. I would absolutely not play Resi Evil VR because I don't want to have to change my underwear every 2 minutes. No, thank you. But if you want to change your underwear several times, Logan, feel free. But no, that looked great. That looked fantastic. But yeah, it's but outside of that, no, from a first party perspective, I just wish they'd shown more from a first party front. But again, that was the same across the entirety of the show, not just VR. The entirety of the show needed more first party stuff, and they did not hit it out the park. They did not. They were miles off. Miles off. I'm going to run through the kind of what was shown quickly, and then we're going to go over them individually. So first game, as Jen mentioned earlier, was Jade Raymond's Haven Studios with Fair Games, which is a first-person shooter. Is this the Extraction game?
I don't think it's an extraction game. It's more like a heist sort of shooter.
That's the one, the
looks of
heist
it.
one. That's right. The Extraction one
And
was
it
Bungie's.
looks like it's going to be either like 15 players in the game or what, because there's like a little splash page at the beginning of this trailer, and it says 15 members already registered. So I'm guessing it's like a 15-player heist shooter. But I don't know. I'm not really too excited for this one. It looks like it could be interesting, but again, new studio. We really know fuck all about this game.
Yeah. Just shout out to Ace there. I don't know whether or not that was autocorrect getting involved here, but you said including some VR love in their first party pancakes. But then again, they didn't have any first party pancakes. Don't know whether or not you wanted to say pancakes, but I'm now wanting some pancakes.
It's a running joke with Ace. Pancake games are just normal games.
Oh, okay.
And everything else is VR.
Now I want pancakes.
Pancake is just generic standard games that you don't play in VR.
Yeah. Next up was Helldivers 2. That straight away just made me think Starship Troopers.
Starship Troopers mixed with ODST from Halo. Yeah. And they're called Hell Jumpers in ODST. That kind of piqued my interest.
Oh, that's cool.
I think they've changed the style of gameplay though, because it wasn't the first one.
It was like a top-down shooter last time.
Isometric over-the-top thing.
Yeah, it was a top-down shooter last time, and they've changed it to a first-person shooter. So fingers crossed, that's good.
That sort of piques my interest. Whether it's good is another thing.
Yeah, absolutely, completely agree. I think it will be good, to be fair, and fingers crossed it will be when it releases. But it looked fun. Whether or not it hits on PlayStation is another thing. We shall see. We shall see. Next up was a game we've already seen that didn't need to be here, but they showed it anyway. Immortals of Avium. It's already been showcased. We've seen it multiple times before this. This game did not need to be on this showcase. Immortals of Avium by EA Originals is a first-person shooter but using magic, not guns. Looks really cool, don't get me wrong, but the gameplay that was on there was the same gameplay we've seen on Twitter, same gameplay that's been on YouTube, and the same gameplay that's been on Xbox and PlayStation for the last month or so. Did not need to be in this showcase at all. At all. It was a waste of minutes.
Yeah, just felt out of place, this trailer. Like, you know, we'd seen this game so many times before, as you mentioned. I didn't need to see it again.
Yeah. Completely. Next up was Ghost Runner 2. That actually looks quite cool. Ghost Runner. The first Ghost Runner was really good. I'm glad to see Ghost Runner 2 is coming out. Again, this is a multi-plat, as is Immortals of Avium. So, Helldivers 2 and Fair Games are both PlayStation exclusives, from what I can tell. Both going to PC, though. Both Fair Games and Helldivers 2 is going to PC. Immortals of Avium is going to everything. Ghost Runner 2 also going to everything, but Ghost Runner 2 look cool. That's by 505 Games. The next one is a one that people need to be aware of. This is what I'm calling a ghost game. It's one that will never see the light of day and will absolutely not be anything like this if it does come out. That is Phantom Blade Zero. It is an absolute ghost game. It does not exist. This game only started production last year. The gameplay that you saw for it was apparently within the space of a year. There's absolutely no way, no cat and hell's chance that a mobile game developer has managed to create that game in less than a year to what you saw on screen.
Mm.
The only other game was Phantom Blade Executioners, which was a 2D action RPG on mobile. It is still not released on PC. It's still slated as coming soon on PC. That game is a myth. Phantom Blade Zero is an absolute myth. It's not real.
After like seeing all the information, it's been out like in development for what, a year?
Yeah.
It's questionable.
And this
I'd be very surprised if this actually is a legit game.
Yep. And this isn't the first time it's happened. It's not the first time it's happened. This is multiple times Sony or have put games in their showcases that simply will not see the light of day. The day before does not exist. It is not what they said it was going to be.
Abandoned.
Does not exist. Phantom Blade Zero, it's by S Game. They've created one single mobile game that hasn't even hit PC. And apparently this is what they're doing on a AAA front. Does not exist. In the space of less than 12 months. It's completely utterly
does not
exist.
It's kind of knocked my hype down for this game because
Black Myth
when we initially saw this, I was actually excited for this. I was like, this is going to be a day one purchase. After the showcase, all this information coming out, they're a mobile developer. This game's been in production for a year, probably less than a year. It looks too good to be true.
Yep. Another one, Black Myth Wukong. Exactly the same problem. By a singular developer. Came out of absolutely nowhere. Looked absolutely phenomenal in terms of visuals. It's completely and utterly nowhere to be seen. Stellar Blade's meant to be out this year.
Acer says it will launch the same day as Abandoned, and deep down you'll see. What day is that?
The 5th of Never. But Stellar Blade's exactly the same. That's meant to be releasing this year. Didn't even make the showcase. You're telling me a game that is meant to be releasing this year didn't make the only showcase they've got prior to its release? Come on. It's getting a bit dubious now.
Honestly, don't even remember what Stellar Blade looks like.
PlayStation are partnering with
I've got nothing to say on the Stellar Blade thing because I don't remember what that game even looks like.
It's another Chinese developed game. And this is not against anything to do with Chinese developers, but it's becoming a common trend recently of putting out way over the top, unbelievably good looking games from a visual perspective on the trailers, and they never ever see the light of day.
It feels like Sony like to do this sort of thing, partner with these games companies that used to be mobile developers that are trying to get into making console games and PC games, just to put trailers in their showcases to pad it out, and then these games just never see the light of day.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd like to see Phantom Blade see the light of day because that did look really good, and that's something I would play if it's real.
Yeah. If it's real, that's the thing. That's the key thing. But I don't think these are. I really don't. In the words of Wolf of Wall Street, it's a fugazi. It's a myth. It does not exist. It's a marketing
ploy. It's going to get abandoned.
But it seems to be, and it's a consistent theme with PlayStation recently. And if you have a look back over the showcases, they've always got these hyper-realistic games that get shown off that wow everybody. And then it just disappears, and you never see them again. Never see them again. And it's a consistent theme, and I don't know how people haven't picked up on it. This is just the latest one. It could
be worse, though. It could have been some dude trying to make it seem like it's a Silent Hill game, like Hassan Karaman from Blue Box Games, aka Abandoned.
Yeah.
Could have been that, where they make you think they're working with Kojima, and these people go on an elaborate ruse, and I believe some of them probably still think that that Abandoned game is a Kojima project, because there's some Muppets out there that do believe those sort of things. But yeah, I don't see these types of games coming out. I think Abandoned has been abandoned. When's the last time we even heard from that guy?
Yeah.
He vanished
God
off the
knows.
face of the bloody planet after there was an interview he did, wasn't there? I think it was with was it Colin Moriarty?
Yeah. Yeah, he had that
And then
interview, and
after
then,
that,
then he's
he
vanished.
disappeared. He's gone quiet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if similar happens with this Phantom Blade Zero. Would I like it not to be that way? Of course, because that game really looks interesting to me, and it's something I would play.
Yeah. But
Just we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, but this is why, especially when you create an indie showcase like I do, you look into some of the developers, what they've been doing. I reach out to these developers to see what they've been working on. The Japanese or Chinese developers that I put on my showcase usually have multiple projects in the works, or have a back catalogue of projects that they've worked on or released, something tangible to go from, in order to go, okay, that's legit. It's not just make believe. But that's why I dig into these things. I'm like, okay, so who's creating this game? Had a look at Phantom Blade Zero. All of us were impressed. You go to the live reaction, all of us looked at it and went, that looks absolutely phenomenal. Didn't think anything of the developer at the time. Just thought it looked great. Afterwards, looked into the developer. S Game? Never heard of them. Let's have a look. Singular game. Really bare bones website. Even the website for the game in itself doesn't have anything on it. It just has the trailer that was shown off. Doesn't have any links, no FAQs, no photos, nothing. Just only updated when that was dropped. The only other game, like I say, is that 2D action RPG, which hasn't even released on PC yet. And apparently this game's coming out on PC and PlayStation 5. Nah. Nope. Complete fugazi.
Probably won't see the light of day.
Nope. No, and I don't understand as well. It's who at PlayStation. This is, like I say, it's not just this game. It's multiple occasions, like the Abandoned situation all over again. Who at PlayStation's actually looking at what's there from tangible? Like, you can't even work with ID at Xbox unless you've got a tangible product that you show to them. Physically show them the product that you're working with.
Yeah, it seems like there are teams over at PlayStation that handle all these indie development studios and not doing their due diligence to do the research to check out if these companies are actually legitimate companies.
Or even just legitimate projects. Like, you might not be a company, you might be a single developer, but as a developer, to work with ID at Xbox, you need to physically show them the project that you're working on. Then they tell you whether or not it's kind of essentially hit the grade even to be on ID at Xbox, let alone anything else. You can imagine how hard it is to get onto regular partnerships with Xbox, let alone ID at Xbox. And PlayStation seem to have dropped the ball on quality control with regards to some of the games that they're putting on there as games that they want to tout on a showcase. It's really weird. I don't understand it. It's just become a common trend recently. But skipping over that, well, enough of that one. That's, like I say, that one's a myth as far as I'm concerned. Sword of the Sea. This is where we started our little indie section here. Sword of the Sea. That looks quite cool, actually, by the developers of Abzu, Pathless, and Journey. Looks really cool. Definitely intriguing. I'm excited to see more of that. Again, that one's multi-plat. Next up, Talos Principles 2. That looked very visually really cool. That one's due out this year at some point. No official date yet, but that's, again, on all platforms. That's a puzzle game. Next was really awesome from an indie perspective. For me, was Neva. That was the one that got in the fields straight away with that giant deer thing and fighting everything, and then passes away at the end
Oh,
of
I
the
love the art
trailer, and I'm
style of
like,
this.
holy shit. Like, really? You're gonna all in the trailer? It's like straight in the fields. That one's gonna be awesome. I can already tell from an indie perspective that's gonna be a really great story game. So I'm looking forward to playing that. It's by the developer behind Gris. Giant Squid. That one's coming to all platforms in 2024. Next up, Jen, your favourite game of the show by far. Foam Stars. Game of the year. Absolutely, game of the year. Foam Stars. Jen's favourite.
No. Yeah. We all said what it looked like. Splatoon.
Yeah, Splatoon. That's all that is.
Splatoon
Meets Fortnite.
with foam.
Yeah. Fortnite.
What's
Splatoon.
wrong with Square Enix? They're so out of touch.
It's like, I know what we can do. We can just do what everybody else is doing. Fortnite, Splatoon.
Yeah, that's still what Nintendo do, because we can do that really good. Because we're really good at chasing trends and stumbling.
Yeah, we can do what Nintendo do, but better. No, you can't. No, you can't. What happened the last time you did this, Square Enix, and you released a fucking multiplayer game? I went to shit. Stick to single players, please. It could be fun, but I doubt it'll last very long. I doubt it'll last very long. It won't do well.
Yeah, it looks like Fortnite and Splatoon combined into one game, and it looks
PlayStation 5 exclusive.
Terrible.
You can keep it. Yeah, we don't want that. We don't want that. Not only that, but they really need to know their audience. Do they know? Does Square Enix know the PlayStation audience, or do they not know the PlayStation audience? That is not something PlayStation players play.
They play sad dad simulators.
It's not, but not even that. They play Call of Duty. They play FIFA. They play Spidey. They play shooters. They play generic shooters. Your Fortnite, all that stuff, and they play the occasional first-party hit like your Spider-Man. What they don't do is play some random fucking foam game with colours. That's gonna flop so hard.
There's one person who would love that game. It's the little shrimp thing from Finding Nemo that loves the bubbles.
Yeah, the bubbles. My bubbles. Yep. Next up, another game. Again, love this game, but it's been shown off probably a dozen times, including at my showcase, the Plucky Squire. Yes, I'm super looking forward to this. Looking forward to it dropping on all platforms again. It's another multi-plat game. But it's already been shown off literally a dozen times. It's been on every indie showcase you can possibly imagine, including mine. Only last month you've seen this game on my showcase. And here it is again. PlayStation just making up the time. Next up,
Pretty much, yeah.
Another indie game that's already on PC at the moment. It's called Teardown. It's coming out on all platforms. This is a destruction game, essentially. It's a voxel-based destruction chaos game where everything can be destroyed. I think you see in the trailer. It looks quite cool. Yeah, there's pretty not much else to say about it, to be honest. It's just a destruction game. You can just go and drive shit into shit.
I think you actually missed the game. I think you skipped past the best game that Xbox Mix looking forward to. Cat Quest, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, no, that's... Yeah, ooh, yeah. Is it in my list? Is it in my list?
I'm going from timestamps in the PlayStation showcase.
Yeah, they did miss one out, so I'm reading from a list here, but they definitely missed one out, yes. Cat Quest. Yes. Another one that's PlayStation.
This is going to be proper Sea of Thieves contender.
Uh-huh. Yep.
We're going to start playing this every Tuesday instead of Sea of Thieves.
Cat Quest Tuesdays. After that, Then we got a little bit of goodness in Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater Remake. Coming to all platforms. Again, unfortunately, it was just CGI.
Do we even know who's working on this game yet?
No, I have no idea.
That concerns me.
Yeah, it just says Konami announced its Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater Remake, also known as Metal Gear Solid Triangle.
I mean, it's Delta, right? It's supposed to be Delta, Metal Gear Solid Delta.
It's a triangle.
Basically, 3. Alpha, Bravo, Delta.
Triangle.
1, 2, 3.
Square. Triangle.
Metal Gear Triangle. Triangle Eater.
Yeah, it's just a CGI trailer because it is obviously miles away. But what they have done in the meantime is the Metal Gear Classic Collection is coming to all platforms. So that is Metal Gear 1, 2, and 3 Snake Eater, the original unremake version. Coming to all platforms later this year. I think it's August or something like that. Or autumn. I don't know. Autumn or August. It's one of the two. Can't remember which. That's coming to all platforms.
Yeah. That's volume 1.
Yeah.
So even on their website, it alludes to there being more from the Metal Gear games coming in a possible volume 2. But it's also worth noting this is the first time Metal Gear Solid 1 is going to be on Xbox.
Yep.
So that gives me hope that Metal Gear Solid 4 is also going to make its way to Xbox and whatever other platform that might go to.
Fingers crossed.
And that excites me because Metal Gear Solid 4 is probably my personal favorite Metal Gear game. As much as the game is like a giant movie and each cutscene is about an hour and 30 minutes each.
The one thing
I absolutely adore that game.
One thing that intrigues me the most about the first one, and I said this, I think, on the show, was for Metal Gear Solid 1 is the Psycho Mantis scene. If anybody knows or has played Metal Gear 1, you know with Psycho Mantis, he can read your mind. And the reason he can read your mind is, of course, the controller is into a port. And he can read whatever's happening on that port. So basically, when you use movements left or right, the AI character can read those movements. And of course, he can block all of your attacks. Which means you can't kill him when you're plugged into port 1. So on PlayStation 1, what you used to do to get around that was take it out of port 1, plug it into port 2, and he couldn't read your mind anymore. And then you could kill him. Of course, modern consoles don't have controller ports. And you most of the time just use your wireless connection, which means you're not connected as a...
I hope they're not going to do something where it's like, oh, you need a second controller. Turn that thing on and you can beat the boss.
Yeah.
What if you're someone that doesn't have a second controller? You only have the one controller. Not many people out there that are like that because any smart person's going to have 2 controllers.
It's certainly going to be interesting, that's for sure.
It's going to be a weird one.
Yep.
So yeah, they tackle that. I mean, there's a similar situation in Metal Gear Solid 4 with the ports thing, but you can change your ports digitally on that because there's a similar boss battle with a Psycho Mantis-like character in Metal Gear Solid 4. So if they do a Metal Gear Solid 4, how are they going to do that as well? Yep. And there's also references to PlayStation 3 and Blu-ray in that game, so are they going to scrub those out?
Yeah. But also, at the same time, on the GameCube version of Metal Gear 1, which they could still implement, Psycho Mantis could read your memory card, so he could tell you what games you've been playing.
Yep, I remember that.
So we'll see how they've managed to, or what they do to change that, or how they kind of get around Psycho Mantis and change those things. But I can't wait to play it because it's been the last time I played Metal Gear 1 was when it released on PlayStation 1. That's how long it's been.
Last time I played it was on PS3 when they had the PS3 where you could play backwards compatibility games.
Yep.
I remember like unlocking the invisibility for that and the bandana that gives you infinite ammo. What a fucking game. I can't wait to play that again. And on Xbox.
Yep. It's going to be mad. It's going to be mad. I'm just glad it's eventually coming to Xbox anyway. The classic Metal Gears.
All those insiders that were saying it was going to be PlayStation exclusive.
Yep. Nope. Naturally, they've got the marketing rights, but the fact that it's coming to the console at all, I'm happy enough. I'll take that. Next up is the one that surprised me on a technical level. Was Towers of Aghashba, which was that weird building kind of game, but then it turned into Zelda out of nowhere. Far more detailed Zelda, where you're kind of jumping on giant floating turtles and then paragliding down into vast valleys and things like that. That looked really interesting. I don't know how that's going to work or where they come from or how it got so detailed. That looked really intriguing. And quite impressed from a technical level, quite impressed with that game. Looked quite cool. Next up, our 455th viewing of Final Fantasy 16, just in case you haven't seen enough Final Fantasy 16 trailers by now. There's another one for you. Reaches 22nd of June.
I couldn't be any less interested in Final Fantasy.
I can understand people that are. It's an action Final Fantasy. But the only reason they put this in the showcase was because it's releasing next month. If this wasn't releasing next month, this was just a time filler. They've showcased this game every other week for months. There's been a new gameplay trailer for this every other week. Don't need to see any more of it. And even people that want to play the game have said exactly the same thing. They don't need to see any more. They've seen enough. So you didn't.
I don't need to see any Final Fantasy game ever again. Thank you.
Yep. Next up, which was an awesome trailer. However, we're getting a better trailer next on June 8th. Is Alan Wake 2. So we got the Alan Wake 2 trailer, and it releases October 17th on all platforms. We also got the confirmation after the show that Alan Wake 2 will have a raw gameplay demo showcased at the Summer Game Fest showcase on June 8th. So, of course, we're covering that live. So, looking forward to seeing the actual raw gameplay for Alan Wake 2. But that trailer, what did stand out to me, Jen, and probably what stood out to you, was this looks far more raw. It looks far more tense. This looks far more of a horror than Alan Wake 1 ever was.
Yeah, the first Alan Wake is more of like a psychological horror.
Yeah.
This one seems like it's more horror.
Yeah.
And it appeals to me. I didn't really go much on the first Alan Wake. Can't really say I'm a huge fan of Remedy games. But this one looks fairly interesting. Whether the gameplay is going to live up to that expectations is another thing. I didn't really go much on Quantum Break. Thought the gameplay was janky on that game.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm not big into Remedy games. I'm yet to play Control. Maybe I'll get around to that at some point. I've heard better things about Control than some of Remedy's other games. So,
yeah, exactly the same. Next up was an awesome looking at Assassin's Creed Mirage. Of course, this version of Assassin's Creed is a harking back to original Assassin's Creed trilogy. So it's what we would class as a bite-sized Assassin's Creed in comparison to what we've been getting recently. So of course, with the likes of Odyssey and Valhalla and things like that, we've been getting these absolute massive games, huge, like 60, 70, 100-hour Assassin's Creed RPGs, open world RPGs. So what they've done on the next batch of Assassin's Creed is release something for everybody. Mirage is that for those who want a more streamlined Assassin's Creed. It's about 20-odd hours long, and it is the traditional going back to basics, going back to where it first started, and it looks awesome. Really does.
This is the Assassin's Creed game that's aimed at me.
Yeah.
I didn't go much on any of those open world Assassin's Creed games. I tried them. I get bored of those games too easy. The longest one I stuck with was Valhalla, and I got to about 30 hours into that game, and I was like, meh, I'm done with this now.
Yep.
Just didn't see that game going anywhere. So yeah, I'm glad that they've sort of gone back to their roots in this Assassin's Creed Mirage. So I'm going to be one of them overly complicated, massive open world games that feel barren in most of the locations. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. I say I'm still looking forward to one of the bigger open world ones. I'm looking forward to seeing Project Red, which is Japan, feudal Japan. Naturally, I love that. So I'm looking forward to see what they do with that. That's going to be awesome. But this looks cool. I'm glad for those who want that traditional Assassin's Creed is actually getting one, and it's a shorter experience. So people aren't going to be sat there for 400 hours trying to play the same.
I just feel like with their open world games, they need to breathe more life into it. It just feels like if say for instance you played Red Dead Redemption 2,
yeah,
and then you play an open world Assassin's Creed game, the Assassin's Creed game looks barren and empty and boring in comparison.
Yeah.
They need to take a few leaves out of Rockstar's books and do more of those open worldy like elements, because like Red Dead Redemption feels like a living, breathing world.
Yeah.
You don't have that same feeling with an open world Assassin's Creed game.
Nope. Next up was another indie game called Revenant Hill. Didn't think much of this one, to be fair, and not only did I not think much of it, but it was a non-gameplay trailer for an indie game, so I have no idea what it's about. No idea.
I think people were more expecting to see Silent Hill and not Revenant Hill.
Yeah. No, I mean, it looks nice, but I couldn't tell you what it's about or what kind of game it is. Couldn't a clue. No idea. No idea.
Another cat game by the looks of it, though.
Yep. Big game up next, though, that I know you and Boxy are absolutely over the moon with. Dragon's Dogma 2. Now, that's a big one for you guys. And again, coming to all platforms.
Love the first one.
Another one coming to all platforms.
First Dragon's Dogma was a game that I never even expected to like.
Yeah.
I bought it on a whim. It came with a demo for Resident Evil 6. We all know that game is trash, but the good out of the bad. Dragon's Dogma was fucking awesome, and I can't wait to play the sequel. It's been a long time coming. Yep. I might even have to reinstall the original and play it.
Good shout. In between all of these games that you need to catch up on.
True, yeah. Maybe I should wait.
But no, it was a good showing. It looked great. And I'm glad for you guys. This isn't a game for me, but I'm glad for you and Boxy specifically that you got to see this game. It looks absolutely awesome. And again, coming to all platforms. So happy days. Next up was a little VR section, and I've only got one of the VR games here, actually, although I'll mention a couple of them because for some reason I've only showcased one of them here. Resident Evil 4 VR, of course, looks fantastic, but Resident Evil 4 Remake looked fantastic as well, so there was no doubt it was going to look good. I've already mentioned this before, but Crossfire, absolutely give it a miss. Ignore it. Just forget about it. That game was terrible. Crossfire X was terrible on the Xbox when it released. Don't waste your money on it. I can absolutely guarantee it's going to be terrible. You also had a funky zombie game, which was kind of humorous.
Arizona Sunshine 2.
That's the one. Arizona Sunshine 2.
I heard really good things about the original.
Yeah.
So I'd expect the same from this.
Yeah. And my list doesn't have the rest of the VR games shown off there, but no doubt the others were a bit better.
Wait, was Five Nights at Freddy's game? Was that VR or was it not VR?
No, it was non-VR. That was just a regular game.
Yeah, so we had Resident Evil 4, Arizona Sunshine, that Crossfire game, a game called Synapse.
Beat Saber as well, getting an update.
And I think that was it for the VR games.
Yeah, and Beat Saber getting its update so that your stuff from the PS1 is on. So PSVR 1 is on PSVR 2. Whether or not that's the entire catalog's ported over, or whether or not you have to buy it again, is another thing. But it's going to be available on there soon, so enjoy that. Then we finished with what we would class as a flurry. First off, Bungie's new game, Multiplat, surprisingly. I was fully expecting this to be one of their projects that would be PlayStation only, but it turns out Bungie are intent on making their games completely multiplat, which to me is a surprise. Because I would expect Sony to ask them to do at least one of their projects specifically for PlayStation.
See, I don't think they can, because obviously when that deal was going through, Bungie championed for their independence.
Yeah.
So as much as Sony owned them, there's probably a get-out clause within that contract that states if Sony try and put pressure on them to make any first-party game exclusives and they don't want to do it, they can walk away. If they do want to do it, then that's up to Bungie.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's more on the PlayStation side that I'm talking about here. Why haven't they approached Bungie and said, "Can you make us a first party exclusive game? Like, we're gonna fund that development or part fund that development." But it's surprising to me that Sony haven't made that approach to Bungie to say, "I know you have X and X multi-plat projects going on. That's fine, but I would like for you to make." As they have done with third parties and second parties, as Microsoft does, you can go to any company, pay them some money, work with them, sign a contract, and say, "Right, you're making a game for us." Where we like we have with what's that one by Avalanche that we've got coming on Xbox? Contraband.
Contraband, yeah.
That's second party, and it's published by Xbox Game Studios Publishing. But it's done by Avalanche. It's fully developed by Avalanche. That's what I would expect Sony to do. Say, okay, we'll publish this game, but can you make us a first person? Like, we're going to fund the development of this game. I'm surprised they're not. They have one of the best FPS teams in the world.
I wouldn't be surprised if they are, but I'd imagine this marathon was probably already heavily in development before Sony even bought them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's an old IP. It's an old IP.
It's one of Bungie's first IPs that came out back on Mac at some point, or whatever Apple's computers were called back in the day. It's basically a reboot, I'm guessing, of the sorts, but they're going to keep the lore of the original games in there, and it's going to be an extraction shooter.
Yeah.
So think Escape from Tarkov, Hunt Showdown, personal favorite, Hunt Showdown. Obviously going to mention it. DMZ, Call of Duty.
Yeah.
So yes, think of that. It's going to be a free player, like teams of three, basically. You go in with two of your friends, you loot, you get into PvP action, and you get out. That's pretty much what an extraction shooter is.
Yeah.
And now I obviously expect fully Bungie's going to have some twists in there. What those twists will be is yet to be discovered. They haven't really talked much about it. They did put a little Vidoc out talking about it.
Yeah.
Don't go into too much details. Obviously, this game's further out than what most people probably expected. So I think 2 years away, maybe 3 years even.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is the type of CGI trailer I can let slide because I know what Bungie can accomplish. Their games always play great. First-person shooters always play well.
Yeah.
So I fully expect this game to do great.
However, next game is not the kind of CGI trailer that we like, and it's Concord. A PlayStation exclusive, apparently due out in 2025. However, the trailer has zero gameplay, doesn't tell you what the game's about, it doesn't give you an idea of what the game's about. It also has a very spookily similar trailer to Starfield. when that was first announced. However, this is yet another first-person PvP.
This
That's
trailer was
3.
so Starfield.
It wasn't it. It was 3
Except they'd swapped out, instead of it being a
sandwich.
sandwich,
It's a burger.
it was a fucking cheeseburger.
Yep. But this game's apparently out next year for PC and PlayStation 5. Nothing gameplay-wise. This is not out next year. It's not. It's not out next year. Not only that,
surprised.
but this is the 3rd game shown off at the showcase. That's a first-person shooter and PvP.
If that's out next year, you really should expect more from a trailer.
Yeah. But that's 3. So the only 3 big games that they showcased that were first party at that point. All and the new ones were all first-person shooters. They were all PvPs. All games as a service.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about Sony, but it seems like they doubled down on things.
Really, really weird. And unfortunately, the showcase took a turn for the fucking worst here. This is a facepalm moment for everybody. Everybody that
This
I've
was the
seen.
greatest part of the showcase.
Everybody that I have seen non-stop. The fucking Gran Turismo movie trailer.
This was so out of place.
The audacity of these guys to put a fucking movie trailer. We know you have the IP, but no one gives a shit. Even the Sony fans don't give a shit. You do not put a
I get that Gran Turismo is a PlayStation IP, but
still,
we don't need to see it at a fucking games showcase.
Just do not include it. We were doing exactly the same thing when they showed the fucking Halo TV series trailer, when they were talking about Halo on the
years
Xbox
and years
showcase.
ago when Xbox was TV.
You do not show it. I don't care who it's made by. Get that shit out of a game.
Games don't give a shit about movies being in these showcases. They want to see your games.
Nope. Get it out. Boot it. And it, yeah, and each side's correct. It wasn't even a new trailer. It's a fucking old trailer. It's the original trailer they released. Get rid. Never do that again, Sony. Absolute time wasting. They were just filling up a void. We thought this was going to be fucking a short ass fucking showcase anyway at 60 minutes long, but 90% of it was absolute filler. Then they went even worse. The Switch S5 with the earbuds.
The earbuds that are going to be like lasting you 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And you need to charge them again.
Project Q. A Sony handheld that works on Wi-Fi direct only, cannot be played outside the house, connects directly to the PlayStation console and plays only games that you own and have installed, cannot play anything that isn't installed, and can only play when the console's switched on. It is literally irrelevant outside of the house. It'll also irrelevant if your PlayStation isn't switched on, which means that you're just using 2 loads of battery or 2 loads of power in the house for no reason. It's got a giant 8-inch screen in the middle of a sawn in half DualSense controller. And then slapped in some AirPods for the crack. Because everybody needs some new AirPods. That isn't the Apple AirPods or the Galaxy Buds, which are cheaper and better. Both of those have Atmos. Fuck me. Waste of time.
My silence speaks everything, really.
Yeah. What a waste of time. And the fact, you know what it is? The worst thing about it, though, was how fucking unbothered and unimpressed Jim Ryan was at the reveal. He just kind of
Can we talk about Jim Ryan for a moment? He is so fucking awkward.
He was miserable. The entire show.
He
At the
didn't look
beginning
like
of
he
the
gave a
showcase.
single flying fuck about being like at that conference.
No.
I would have rather have them just got Herman Holst. At least he's got a bit of fucking confidence and care about, gaming.
He came on the show.
Jim Ryan comes on and he looks like a used car salesman.
But he just came on the show and he was like, I am so excited to be here today. Well, at least fucking
Really
sound
sounded
it.
like it.
You didn't look like it or sound it. It's just fucking monotonous. Never ever host a PlayStation
feel like that
conference
guy's
ever
ever
again.
actually played a single game in his life.
He's talking as if he's talking to shareholders. Mate, you're talking to gamers. Act like it. This is why fucking Sean Layden had so many fans, because he was excited. He was talking to gamers. This is why Herman Holst has fans. This is why Corey Barlog has fans, because when they speak, they are from people who play games, have designed games, have made games. They're not just random shareholders. Jim Ryan has never made a game in his life. He's never been near games. He hasn't got a fucking clue. He shouldn't be on a conference. He shouldn't. And then his absolute lack of enthusiasm of unveiling new hardware was even worse. It was like, and I'm proud to announce, we're unveiling a project in the works known as Project Q. And some...
Project I don't give a shit.
Yeah. And some earbuds. Also, to go with the controller. Thank you for watching. We'll leave you with one last trailer. Woo! So happy. And then followed the Spider-Man 2 trailer. Which was the only redeeming factor of the show. But, and I'll say, but, as great as the gameplay looked, and I like some of the new mechanics with the wingsuit and the speed of the traversal, and how quickly you can interact with different things, and it looked a lot quicker and a lot more fun to get around. And of course you switch between characters. I'm putting that in parentheses because I think that's not going to be as like GTA where you can just go at any time. I think the switch between is at set moments within the story and not all of the time. I don't think throughout that.
I hope not. I hope in the pure free roam moments you can switch between characters, because what's the point?
Yep. However, the caveat for me on that is, though it looked great, and this is only because of the work Insomniac have done previously, it did not look like something that is taking full advantage, as Jim Ryan said, of the PlayStation 5. Even as a Spider-Man fan, I think everybody can admit, the game looks great. It looks absolutely fantastic. It looks a lot of fun. But from a graphical and a technological standpoint, that is not taking the full advantage of the console. Jim Ryan, stop using ridiculous terms that are untrue. That game does not take full advantage of a PlayStation 5.
I feel like everything in that trailer could have been done on a PlayStation 4.
Yep.
I don't know if that's true or not. That's just me and my opinion. I ain't no technical genius or technical know-how. I don't know what the fuck they're doing behind the scenes and what makes games run better on whatever platform. But it's not, in my opinion, it's not a major leap from Spider-Man on PS4, the remaster, and Miles Morales, which is also on PlayStation 4.
Yep.
There's not much of a leap there. Huge Spider-Man fan. Can't wait to play it.
Yeah, David Max says the Series S is holding it back.
It is. It's the damn Series S's fault.
Yep, absolutely. Completely agree. 100%. Damn you, Series S!
Yeah.
But in all fairness, like you say, it's not that the game's not great. And the problem we've got here is Insomniac themselves, the wizards that they are, have done such a phenomenal job with making Spider-Man 2018 and Miles Morales look absolutely fantastic on PlayStation 4 and 5 already, that the room for improvement in the art style that they've chose to go with is so minimal that trying to make it look better will always be difficult, because all you're going to go for is, okay, instead of doing up-resed resolution, so instead of going for fake res as we know it and not native res, we'll go for native res, and we'll try and do more ray tracing, and we'll try and add a little bit more fidelity here. But aside from that, the art style that they've chose to go for Spider-Man in the previous one and this one, there's not much you can do to make it look more realistic or more fancy. There's really not. It can only look so good before you have to change the art style entirely. It's not an ultra-realistic game, so it's never going to look miles better on the next one. So, yeah, it's good. It looks good. Of course it does. But it doesn't look...
It's still Spider-Man at
Yeah.
the end of the day. It's still going to be New York.
Yeah.
So you're going to feel like you've swung through that city a million times.
Yeah.
Not all that much is going to change between games.
Yeah.
I'm still excited for it, though. It's the story that's going to get me more than anything.
Yeah. Still going to be a great game.
I can't wait.
Agree.
Like, the voice acting is definitely right up there. The guy playing Peter Parker and like playing the Peter Parker in the Venom symbiote suit, you can see that he's put some fucking serious effort into that role and being a more angry, dark Peter Parker.
Yeah.
That's hopefully going to go toe the line and nearly kill a villain.
Yeah.
I mean, I fully expect the game to get to a point where you have to fight Peter Parker as Miles Morales to bring him back round and stop him from doing something bad.
Yeah. One thing I will
But
say,
yeah,
though,
I hope
is the negative still doesn't have a release date.
that's the biggest disappointment.
This is what
You can't show me all that gameplay.
Yeah.
You can't show me 12, nearly 13 minutes of gameplay and not give me a release date.
Feels like Forza again.
Because I still feel like this game is possibly a year out.
Yep.
You haven't given me a release date. Makes me feel like it's not coming this year.
Yep. And that's the thing. For me, it looks like it's looking really weird. It's looking really weird. I don't know why it hasn't released. Like, given the release date, it's still showing as fall 23.
Don't know. It's weird. Are they worried about the full months? We know September is pretty packed. Activision are going to announce Call of Duty really any week to any month now. That's usually an October, November game. That's a game you don't compete with.
Yeah. Not only that, though, but is this the first time for Insomniac where they've been working on two big projects at the same time?
That's if they've not only been working on something else as well.
As many people have also pointed out, it's not like they haven't already been carrying PlayStation this entire generation.
When Wolverine was announced and Spider-Man 2 was announced, they were already working on blanking on the name of the game, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I think it's called Rift Apart.
Yeah, they were finishing that up.
So they're working on 3 games at that time.
Mm-hmm.
How do we not know they're not working on 3 games right now?
Yeah.
Possibly another Ratchet and Clank game. They
And
do own the what's that IP that was an Xbox game and it went with Insomniac? Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah.
They could be working on a sequel for that for all we know.
Yeah. They're literally carrying PlayStation, and I feel sorry for them because they might just be burnt out. It's been back to back.
It feels like they're stretched thin.
Yeah.
It feels like their talent is stretched thin between too many projects. It's disappointing because Insomniac are really fucking good at what they do.
Since the beginning of the generation, we've had the Spidey remaster for PlayStation 5, Miles Morales, Ratchet and Clank, then Spidey 2, and then Wolverine coming out with it just after that.
Mm-hmm.
That's 5 games in the opening like 4 years. What's the rest of the studio's been doing?
Sitting on their hands by the looks of it.
Like it's literally like it's the most value you can do ever for the price that they were purchased at. They've already paid back their money 10 times. 10 times that they were purchased for. And they're still doing it. These guys need a break. They need to stop
They got
relying on
Insomniac for a bloody bargain.
Yep. And what the rest of there's nothing else. Nobody else showed up. Your 2 new guys showed up, but they didn't show anything.
Just CG.
What's the rest of the studios doing? Then we've got
as
developers.
Much as I trust Bungie,
no offense to the devs on Twitter, but I've got developers coming out. Developers coming out from all these different studios across PlayStation saying greatness takes time. You've had your projects have been in development 4 years plus already. You're telling me you haven't got a basic something to show off? Anything? Nothing.
You must have a trailer or some sort of thing to show off.
I'm sorry, but yeah, it's we're talking the beginning of the gen. You've had your opening year. At the moment, you've got Spidey 2, which may or may not release by the end of this year, as it still doesn't have a confirmed date.
I hope it fucking does.
Yep. And outside of Spidey 2,
I feel like it's going to slip though.
Outside of Spidey 2, you've got Concord, which has just released a 50-second non-gameplay trailer without a release date saying 24. I doubt it. That just screams fucking God of War again. Remember when they said God of War coming 2021?
That's what they did with God of War, and it slipped
2 years.
It just felt like they put their trailer out there to go and sell consoles.
Yeah, it slipped. God
of War's coming. I need to get a console as soon as possible so I can have that console when the game comes out.
Yep.
And then that game comes out an entire year later.
Yep. But outside of Insomniac, they have fuck all getting released. Nothing. They've got no games lined up for 24. I don't believe Concord is a 24 game. I'm not even classing it as a 24 game. There's no gameplay. There's no substance. Nothing to prove that game is anywhere near ready for 24 release.
I really wouldn't be surprised if Spider-Man slips to March, possibly May. Or they just push that shit out and it has a ton of problems just to meet a deadline.
I can't see PlayStation doing that. I can't.
What else have they got this year? They have to take the L.
They've got. That's why they're relying so heavily on Final Fantasy 16. And what was originally Stellar Blade, which I don't think will come out this year either. I don't think that's a real game. So I fully expect PlayStation to have nothing and have to rely on purchasing third-party money hats to cover their arse next year.
It just feels like
and even
2 years of waiting went to waste.
Just to go into that as well even further, the financial when Sony were talking to the financial guys in their end of year report, they said the only game we've coming out in financial year end 2023 is Spider-Man. Now we all know financial year end doesn't rule out 2023 release either. That means it could go into 24 based on the financial year end.
April, right?
Yep.
Could slip.
And then you've got nothing else released. You've got nothing in the pipeline for 24. You're going to have a showcase in 24 anyway to show what you're doing in 25. So you need something by that point. You absolutely need something. Otherwise, you've got
Wasn't
nothing.
they touting this showcase as showcasing the future of PlayStation 5?
Yeah. Well, that's what I went into the showcase for, was to see what we've got coming up. That's the whole purpose of the showcase, was to see what the future of PlayStation was. And I didn't learn anything.
That's what I questioned Xbox about last year. Where was the future of Xbox in that showcase?
Yep. And we've held Xbox accountable. They absolutely fucked over their entire showcase from last year only two of their games that they said were going to release in that 12-month window is released. From their own perspective, Redfall, which was an absolute clusterfuck, and Minecraft Legends. That's it. I'm not counting Age on console. I'm not counting any of these things.
We don't talk about
just
Redfall.
ports. Like, Microsoft have already fucked up, but Microsoft have now got the best position ever in absolutely nailing this next showcase. And if they don't, Jesus Christ,
so the thing
biggest
is,
layup in history.
They need to go all out.
They need to.
I think Xbox fans are done waiting for. I know it's become a joke, but every year people go wait for E3.
Yep. What also added salt to the wounds this week for PlayStation was that Factions has been delayed indefinitely after Bungie were asked to do a review of some of the multiplayer and games as a service games that they had in development. They had a look over. This is a report from Bloomberg, by the way. Naughty Dog have put out a comment afterwards confirming pretty much the same thing. Basically confirming that the game has been delayed indefinitely as they reassess the game. But Bungie looked over the viability of the game and essentially whether or not it could last the test of time with player engagement. They looked at Factions and said, nope, this game will not last the test of time. It needs reassessed. Like, you're not going to hold players' time enough at all. So you need to go back to the drawing board and do something better.
Yes, disappointing and concerning because this was supposed to come out with The Last of Us 2, right? And it got delayed.
Yeah.
And then it became its own individual thing.
Yeah.
And now it's been pushed back indefinitely, which to me, really, in the long run, sounds like this thing is never coming out.
And on top of that, Jen, they've also scaled back the developers on it, who have been now moved on to other projects.
Yeah, that tells me this is done then. If they've already pushed those developers onto another project, which I'm assuming will be an official Last of Us 3, then push the rest of the developers off, cancel that project, and let that game just be Last of Us 3 and do Factions in Last of Us 3.
Yeah.
Don't do Factions as a standalone, pointless fucking thing that's got no single player weight behind it.
Yeah. It doesn't look like it's years and years and years away. Years and years.
If
it ever comes out.
The first Factions did well was because it had the single player might of the first Last of Us behind it. And the second Last of Us game had nothing. It was just a single player. It had no multiplayer to back it up.
Mad. So that was meant to be this year and potentially next year, but it doesn't look like that one's coming out at all. So it's not been a great week.
I'd say Factions is as good as dead.
Yep.
The next time you'll see Factions will be Last of Us 3.
Yeah. Naughty Dog did confirm in their post that they are working on a new single-player action-adventure game. That potentially could be Last of Us 3, or maybe even a new game. You never know. However, I think Sony have given them that remit to go and check on their multiplayer games because, let's face it, Bungie are the most experienced multiplayer first-person shooter developers that they've got. And they've got a working live service game.
Yeah, they've got a live service game that has
better to go and vet that?
Held up well.
Yep.
Bungie had issues first with their live service, but over time, they've come to understand the live service and how it works a lot better. And that's pretty much the whole reason why Sony bought them, for their expertise in live service, so that they don't make the same mistakes that Bungie made when they was first getting their live service with Destiny 1 off the ground.
Yep. And Tony, I completely agree in chat as well. Honestly, he said, honestly, I prefer games to be announced once they're already within 6 months. Personally, I would love to be able to be in a position within the industry to say that they would only announce a game once it's gone gold. That's the only time I think they should announce a date, when the game has gone gold. That would be ideal. However, from a marketing perspective, we know they can't do that.
And pleasing investors.
Yeah.
A lot of these
And trying
CGI
to
trailers.
keep these things
Mm.
wrapped up in secrecy when you've got investor calls and these things are detailed to investors in paperwork is now an impossible.
A lot of CGI trailers are not really just for us. They're to show investors sort of the vision of the game for backing so that they get funding for those games.
Mm-hmm.
And the other part of that is, yes, it is also aimed at us as gamers. If a CGI trailer catches people's eyes and generates interest, then that then generates more money going into that game from the investors.
Yep. Completely agree. So it's one of the things we've that's changed in recent times. We used to get kind of, and again, it would be great if we could just go back in time to only announcing games in magazines. Or the very rare showcase, which was E3, which used to be an investor showcase. Remember, it didn't used to be a public one. But the vast majority of the time you'd see games was screenshots in a magazine, or looking at the back of a game and having a look at the game art and what it told you at the back of a game.
Or you get
or they get a demo disc.
DVD.
Yeah, the demo disc.
Have all the trailers on that disc. And you get some demos of the games. Oh, well, those were the days. I remember that.
Demo disc
I
days?
remember playing Spider-Man PS1 from a demo disc, and it was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Loved it.
I remember playing the original Medieval on demo disc. Medieval on a demo disc, I remember that. It had absolutely amazing amounts of games on that for the PlayStation. PS1, that is.
I remember when you actually bought a game, because Metal Gear Solid 1 actually came with a demo of Silent Hill.
Yeah, I remember that. I think
I
I've
miss
got that
those
somewhere
days.
as well. Fantastic.
If only they would do things like that this day and age, where you get a game and you get a demo for a different game with that game. Yeah, I'll try this game out that's also coming from us in X amount of months' times, and then it just generates a download for you.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, it's complete. Obviously, the entire environment's changed now compared to what it was. But it is what it is. The thing is, and this is with regards just wrapping up the showcase talk and pretty much wrapping up the show today, what the show should have done was detail what is happening with PlayStation for 24-25. So we know what to expect games-wise. What it didn't do was exactly that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they could have shown another trailer for Wolverine. Surprisingly, we didn't get to see a trailer for Death Stranding 2, which is a PlayStation console exclusive.
Yep. You would have thought you'd see
just felt
something.
like so much was missing from that showcase.
Was first party was missing? All of them? It was Insomniac carrying
there was only 4 first-party games that were announced.
Yeah, but then you're relying on Haven Studios, who haven't released a game yet, to put out a trailer. Then you had Firewalk.
That's why I feel like that was so out of place, to start with a development studio that you bought recently, and they've had no games before because they're a new studio. It would have made more sense for them to put that sort of trailer at the halfway point.
Yeah, absolutely.
And start with something from one of your big studios, your Naughty Dogs, your Sony Santa Monica's. What's the team that made Ghost of Tsushima?
I know who you're talking about. Mine's went blank though. Mine's went blank.
Damn it, I can't remember the name of the studio. I mean, even Gorilla could have announced something.
Yeah. Anyone? Sony Bend?
Yeah, Sony Bend, they could have announced their new game with even if it was a CG trailer.
Yeah. Polyphony Digital, what are you doing with Gran Turismo? Are you not getting any updates for that? Is there no DLC or content? Nothing?
I get that a lot of people also don't like CGI trailers, but there's ways that CGI trailers can be done to put across what the studio is going to portray as gameplay.
But the thing is, and Sony
Obsidian did with Avowed.
Sony have been amazing with this in the past, where, yes, we might not have anything to show right now, but there's no reason why they couldn't have shown some splash screens as to what to expect in the next couple of years. They didn't even do that. Like, previously, they announced, like, God of War, like, years and years before they showcased the actual game. They're just like, duh, duh, duh. Like, they put the music up, and then, boom, there's the logo, then the logo appears, and you're like, shit, holy shit. And it's like, coming such and such, or in development now. It just give us an idea as to what you're working on. But
I was really surprised that we didn't see what Cory Barlog has been working on with his half of Sony Santa Monica. Just felt weird, like none of the big hitters showed up apart from Insomniac with Spider-Man 2.
It just wasn't, and people have said this, and I have to agree. It felt more like a state of play than it did a showcase.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we all said it in the podcast / watch along afterwards when we gave our opinions on the show.
Yep.
We all said it felt like a Sony state of play rather than a showcase.
Yeah, it shouldn't. After 2 years, it shouldn't feel like that. After 2 years, it should be a full-blown showcase, detailing what you've got coming up for the next 2 years at least. Especially when you've got nothing but Spider-Man carrying your brand. And everyone's like, yeah, but it's Spider-Man, it's huge. It is huge, but it's still just one game. I don't care how it is when you're going up against, and no offense, when you're going up against Starfield, Diablo, which has got the marketing rights for Xbox, and if you go anywhere, it does not tell you that it's coming to PlayStation. It's just coming out on Xbox, coming out on Xbox, coming out on Xbox. Diablo's going to be fucking massive. Then you've got Starfield. You've got Forza Motorsport. Potentially Hellblade this year as well, which is looking more likely. You've then got Avowed, and Fable, and Perfect Dark, and Indiana Jones, and so on.
And we just had Zelda.
Yeah, you've just had Zelda. You're going to have Pikmin as well there coming out. Like, you think like, Sony are just... It's as if they're not trying. This is like the last... This is like the last literally 2 years that I've been watching Sony do things that are not what they are like. And there's only one person to blame for that, to me, and that's Jim Ryan.
That's the problem when you got someone leading the charge that isn't a gamer. He's so disconnected from what gamers want and what gamers expect. It's unreal.
And this is the thing, like, and people might not like Sean Layden, or people loved Sean Layden, but Sony guys, the Sony hierarchy didn't. That's mainly because they were spending money like it was going out of fashion. But I'd rather that than somebody in charge that literally, visually does not give a flying fuck. And Jim Ryan doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't. You can see that. Doesn't care. And I don't know what's going on with the studios. Haven't the foggiest clue. But they need to sort their acts out soon. It's just so weird. And it's across the board. It's like it's everything from being a company that usually was very vocal and liked talking about all their upcoming games and did things quite frequently, to being deathly silent for almost 2 years. And then when they did put a showcase out, it was more of a state of play than it was a showcase, and they showed loads of third-party games, 12 of which are coming to Xbox Day 1. Like, what is going on? Like, what is actually happening at PlayStation Studios?
Not much by the looks of it.
I just don't get it. I just don't get it. They need to pull their finger out, and this is the only time that Xbox have had, and again, and I've seen this on Twitter, and I've got to agree. Don't put it past Xbox to mess up a layup, because this is the biggest opportunity they're ever going to have to absolutely take advantage of this. They need to go into their showcase in 2 weeks' time, 2 weeks today. They need to go into their showcase and absolutely obliterate it. Just a showcase.
They have to.
Pretty much start to finish of only first-party games. Yes, sprinkling a couple of third parties here and there, like Stalker 2, etc. But in terms of your first parties, you need to be showing Fable, you need to be showing Hellblade and a release date. You need to eventually give that release date for Forza, as we know it's going to be there now. Give that release date for Forza. You need to be showing the likes of Avowed off. You need to be showing potentially what's happening with Everwild. You need to be showing that there's so many titles that need to be shown off now. And
This Xbox showcase that's coming up, they need to show something from every single one of their development studios, whether it be a small snippet or a 1 to 2 minute long trailer. You can't mess around.
Yep. And the one
They've
thing
spent too many years not showing some of these games off, especially Fable, especially Avowed, Perfect Dark, Indiana Jones. They need to pull out all the stops. They need to stop putting roadblocks in the way.
Yep. You know what I'm going to say, Jen?
I don't think Xbox fans are going to tolerate another, our development studios didn't want to show their game.
You know what I say, Jen? I am done with tempering expectations. They need to come out all firing.
Yeah, they do. They need to fire on all cylinders. They need to show us what this entire generation has been about. They need to prove the whole power play with the world's most powerful console and show us the games that are going to go with this world's most powerful console. We're, 3 years into the generation this year?
Yep.
Where are these powerful games to go alongside the world's most powerful console? I'm still waiting.
Yep. It needs to absolutely knock it out of the park. And again, I will say exactly the same to everybody. Do not temper your expectations. Expect better.
Expect everything.
Yeah, expect it. And demand it. As a gamer, we've had a very lackluster start of the generation from Xbox.
Not even just this generation. The last generation was lackluster too.
Yeah, but the tail end of the gen was good. They ended the gen in a good place. They started this gen in a bad place. But right now,
they've got to go all out.
There is no excuses anymore. Zero excuses. I will not be tempering expectations. I will be demanding that they hit it out the park. And
I'm going to say this. Show me you're serious about gaming, Xbox.
Yep. Absolutely.
If you're as serious about gaming as you keep talking about, from Phil Spencer, from Satya Nadella, prove it. This is the year to prove it. I don't think many Xbox fans are going to tolerate another lackluster E3-like event.
And that's the thing. It won't take much. It really won't take much. You've got Hellblade as a layup. You need to show some combat gameplay, show a little bit of gameplay from Hellblade, and give a release date. Absolute layup. You'll already be winning. Already be winning if that goes there. You've got Forza Motorsport, looks absolutely tremendous anyway. Release date. There's another win. Tick. Starfield's got its own big show. That's releasing this year. Pick. Tick. There's one.
Rather than nothing, no gameplay from any of these companies, I would rather take conceptual gameplay over no gameplay. Show me what the idea is you have.
Yeah.
Show me your conceptual gameplay of it and what you expect the game to look like when real gameplay actually comes out. I would rather conceptual gameplay than no gameplay at all.
Yeah. But yeah, just the point is this time around for me is I don't think Xbox fans should have to temper their expectations after years of tempering expectations and going into every showcase being told to temper their expectations. Absolutely not. Why should we? Why should we? They need to actually perform, and they have the perfect opportunity after that abysmal showcase by PlayStation to knock it out of the park and take advantage of that situation. That's what they need to do. It's as simple as that. Take advantage of the situation that Sony had provided you. For me, what would be a success, personally for me, and again, everybody else will be different, but for me, eventually get that Forza release date. I don't care about gameplay. I know what Forza is going to look like. It's going to look great. It's going to be a technical marvel, blah, 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 blah. Right? Forza's going to look great. Get that release date. Put that one to bed. Hellblade Combat kind of gameplay trailer with a little bit of story, tiny bit of story trailer. Gameplay, of course, in-game, not in-engine. And release date. Fall 2023. That would be awesome. If it comes in at the beginning of next year, so be it, but I'd rather it be the end of this year for personal reasons. Show me Fable. There's the third one. Show me Fable. Absolutely want to see Fable this time around. Show me Avowed. Absolutely show me Avowed. 100%. That game's been in development for a long, long time. And then, of course, last but not least, on the second and extended one, we're seeing Starfield. Anything above that, there's 5 games. Anything above those 5 games I've mentioned, one, a Fable, Avowed, and a Hellblade. That's 3 of the games, 3 out of 25 outstanding projects, by the way. 3, that's not asking much, out of the 25 outstanding projects that I want to see at this showcase. Anything above that they show, which they've also said, which is surprises and updates from their current studios, as well as a couple of little third-party stuff and some indies. Anything above and beyond those 3 would be fantastic. But that's a bare minimum to have those 3. Bare minimum. What do you think they need to do then, Jen?
They need to go beyond the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Bare minimum is what we've been getting for too long.
Yep.
We need to see extended gameplay of Hellblade, because every time we've seen that game, it's been mostly CG, apart from the small snippet of gameplay we saw at the Game Awards 2 years ago, was it?
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen Hellblade loads, to be fair, and I've got, you know what it is though, I've got absolutely zero doubts about Ninja Theory and their capabilities. So I know when that game comes out or when that game shows, it's going to look fantastic. It's going to play fantastic. But I just want to see it, and I want to get it out the way off. Ninja Theory is a studio I trust.
We need to see Fable gameplay.
Absolutely.
We need to see at least an extended snippet of Forza.
Yeah. And the release date.
Perfect Dark, Indiana Jones, trailers. I don't think Indiana Jones is probably anywhere near ready to be shown gameplay. I'd expect a better trailer for that, because we didn't even see a CG trailer. It was more like a motion comic. Yeah.
It was a splash screen,
need a proper trailer for that to at least get the point across on how the game's going to look. We need to see Gear 6, whether that be just a small teaser trailer. Just
that could be a splash screen.
Cement that's coming.
Be a splash screen.
Yep. Just a splash screen with a voiceover from one of the main characters. And they just need to go all out with the surprises. I want a Halo spin-off. People have been chomping at the bit for either a Halo Wars 3 or an ODST sequel of the sorts. Every year I've asked for an ODST game, pretty much since the first ODST game. Just work on some fucking Halo spin-offs. Forget the main series for a bit. Focus on expanding the Halo universe in other Halo games, in other areas, other genres. There's plenty they can do there. There's plenty of books that exist. They could take one of those books and turn it into a game.
Yeah. Yeah.
They could do the same with Gears. We could do Gears spin-offs.
Yep. To Mr. Otanas in the chat, he said, didn't Fable get a huge setback with a new director, though, like Everwild? I know I've responded to you in chat, but I'll kind of elaborate on it. No, Fable is fine. Fable's by the main team, the main team at Playground Games. They actually decided themselves. They've had pressure from the big guys at Xbox. So you're talking about the Matt Booties, the Phil Spencers, all of them have seen the game. They love what they've seen, and they've been trying to kind of force them essentially to show gameplay of it earlier. And Playground Games have said, no, we'll show it when it's ready. So we know from essentially hierarchy that game has been ready to show, but not to what Playground Games' standards.
I feel like now Phil Spencer needs to say, I can't accept no anymore. Yeah. You need to show something.
Yeah, I think Fable, this was last year, mind saying this, so it's been at least another 7-8 months since that had occurred. So it's been enough time. I think this, when we're talking about Fable being shown off, we're talking about it was last year at the showcase. We were kind of expecting to see it then, and that's when we got the news that the Fable devs were saying, nah, it's not ready yet. It's not ready yet. So I fully expect this year Fable will be good to go. It'll be good to go.
I hope so.
Obviously, I don't by good to go, by the way, I don't mean it's ready to release. But what I do mean is that it's ready to show off gameplay from the game. They're happy enough to show gameplay of it. I think Fable could be a 24, maybe even early 25 game.
I feel Fable will be full next year.
Yeah. And I think Avowed will fit in there somewhere as well, but I don't know when. That's another game that's been... Again, these are two very big studios that have got track record of hitting it and nailing it on the head. So I trust Playground Games and I trust Obsidian. Just as the same as I trust Ninja Theory. These are studios that I have no qualms about. The studios that we don't know about and we have reservations on are the Initiative, of course, naturally, for Perfect Dark. We know they're working with Crystal Dynamics, but still reservations. It's like if they showcase something on there that was like a CGI trailer or a more in-depth CGI trailer for Perfect Dark, I would have the same reservations as I do for Haven's game or for Firewalk's game. Like, I haven't seen you produce anything yet, so I don't know what the fuck this is. And I don't know what it's about. And I don't know how it looks or plays. So until I see actual solid gameplay from that game, I don't trust it. And I don't, obviously, naturally, I don't have anything to go by track record-wise for the Initiative to know. I know who the Crystal Dynamic are, so I trust them. But ultimately, it's the Initiative that are controlling that. So, outside of that, I'm just thinking the Coalition are absolute stone cold, but whether or not they're ready to announce what they're working on is another thing. Obviously, they're great.
I'd like to see what Double Fine are working on as well.
Yeah. They're fantastic. I'd love to see State of Decay 3, but I'm not sure if that'll show, although we'd love to see it.
State of Decay 3, wasn't Coalition supposed to be helping with that game as well?
Yeah.
That interests me then.
Yeah.
And hopefully now is the time to show that too, because that felt like a lifetime ago that was announced.
Yeah. In Exile, exactly. We should absolutely be surprised by seeing an Exile's game this year. They've been teasing lots of things for a while now. So now's the time.
I think they need to show something from every single one of their development studios.
Or updates, at least. At minimum, bare minimum, the updates. In Exile, Compulsion Games, we have absolutely no idea what's going on with Compulsion, so let's see Compulsion.
And we obviously don't know what Double Fine are working on next.
Yeah, I trust. I love Double Fine. I can't wait to see what they've got going. Obsidian have got like 400 things in development, so I know what they're doing.
I just hope they ain't stretched thin.
Obsidian are massive. Obsidian are like the naughty, or like the Insomniac, man. They've got Grounded, they've got Outer Worlds 2, they've got Avowed, and I think there's one more other project in there as well. So they've got lots going on. But again, it's a studio I trust. If it was a boatload of studios that I didn't trust, then I'd be concerned. But yeah, ultimately the purpose we're trying to get to here is I'm not going to just temper my expectations for this anymore. I'm not going to do it. I expect a good show. And anything that isn't great, I'm going to be calling it out. If they don't hit it out the park, if they don't smash it, I'm going to be calling it out. Now is the time. We've had all the talk. We've had wait till next year. They're booking out fucking theatres to show this off, for people to go and watch it.
Hopefully that means they're confident.
Booking out theatres. They've got watch parties all over the world. Is it overconfidence, or are they truly confident?
Hopefully it's not overconfident.
Yep. Only time will tell. It's 2 weeks to go.
Yeah, 2 weeks away. Hope is all we have at the moment, but they need to be showing a great showcase or better.
Yep.
There's no less this time. Less than great is not acceptable.
Exactly. It might sound like we're being a bit too demanding here, but we've had this for years. This is the difference. PlayStation guys don't understand this because PlayStation notoriously have had a release cadence. They've had games released that have been really high polished, that have been critically acclaimed across the board, that have done well, and they've released things that have pleased their fans. Xbox have not hit that cadence. They haven't hit that consistency, and they need to. It's as simple as that. We're only demanding the minimum, which is exactly what the competition's doing. Quality releases, on time, and consistent.
Mm-hmm. We need that Xbox 360 level of confidence and consistency.
And not everything needs to be for me. But what it does need to be is quality and consistent. There's not every game I'm going to enjoy. I don't enjoy every PlayStation first-party game that comes out. But you can damn near guarantee, no matter what first-party game comes out for PlayStation, it's absolute quality. Whether or not me, Jen, or anybody in chat likes it or not, Spider-Man's an absolute quality game. God of War's absolute quality. It's Game of the Year material. Days Gone was underappreciated, but it was a quality game and people really enjoyed that.
Oh, I absolutely loved Days Gone. I was hoping for a sequel, but we all know what happened there.
Yeah. Then you've got Ghost of Tsushima, absolute quality game. Horizon, again, for me, it was a bit boring, but people absolutely loved it. And you can't say that it isn't technically and visually absolutely fantastic, which it is.
Well, I've got a sequel for a reason, so people must love it.
Exactly. 15, 20 million units sold across the board, so it's obviously very successful. That's the kind of consistency that PlayStation have and why they've got a little bit more legroom than Xbox. Xbox do not have that consistency. They don't. Yes, they've released some quality games, but on a AAA front, not just a AAA mixed with indies, which is where they've got a lot of their wins. Xbox have got a lot of wins in the indie department. When it comes to the big hitters, Halo, yes, the story campaign was quite cool. Obviously, the gameplay was absolutely nailed, but the content was terrible.
Yep, and it only looks like now is the time to sort of get back into Halo.
That's
they've got actual levels coming to the game, like a military ranking system coming to the game in the new season. I think cross-core is coming to the game within the next season too.
Yeah.
And I can say I'm actually kind of starting to get interested in Halo again. Yeah. And it's just a shame that it's took this long to get the game into a decent state where content is coming to it. Yeah. And there's actually things to fucking do in the game.
Yeah.
It's like that was the whole point of Halo, leveling up, unlocking stuff.
But there's
going to be stuff to unlock is another thing that I don't know about, but I guess we'll find out.
One thing we've said, though, for a while is it can't always be, and Xbox fans will agree with this, you can't always just rely on the Gears, Halo, Forza. Gears, Halo, Forza. We need to expand from that
surprises,
now.
New stuff.
And that's the one thing PlayStation have been able to do consistently. Horizon, Ghost of Tsushima, Days Gone, like Returnal, Bloodborne, you name it. They've had hit after hit after hit.
We need a few new IPs from Xbox that are long lasting, like Halo, Gears, and Forza.
Hellblade. That could be the start of a new one. Avowed could be the start of a new one.
Hopefully, because that would mean we wouldn't have to keep waiting for fucking Elder Scrolls.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
I'm sick of waiting for that game. I've been looking forward to that for ages, and it's nowhere to be seen.
Yep. And Mr. Atanas in the chat there is right. If we hit the goal of one first-party game every quarter, like they were aiming for, that would be great. Absolutely. And Phil Spencer again on the more recent show with Paris and all of those said, I can now see that one per quarter physically, like I can actually see it now. So if that is correct and everything is lining up and he's not just talking again, great. That's exactly what you promised originally. Now let's see if you can actually hit that consistently. And not just next year, but the year after, and the year after, and the year after, and the year after. It needs to be consistent. One game
need to be
every
consistent
quarter
for the rest of this
forever.
generation going on into the next generation.
Yeah.
And you need to prove that you can be consistent by being consistent.
Yep.
And not talking about being consistent.
Yep.
Talk is cheap, as they say.
Absolutely. Which is why that's why we're saying I'm not tempering expectations. Talk is cheap. They've done enough talking, so now they have to show. Now they have to show. And that's all because of PlayStation. PlayStation have absolutely dropped the ball here to the point where if Microsoft does not capitalize, it's on them. Absolutely on them. Completely. If Sony came out and had an absolute smasher of a showcase, it would be different entirely. Be thinking, Microsoft need to do something here. They need to do something for an entirely different reason. They need to do something to keep up. But now, the fact that Sony's dropped the ball so fucking humongously, they need to capitalize on it. They need to put the foot to the throat. They need to pin them down. They make sure they know this is
They need
us.
to
We're
take
back.
that ball and they need to get a touchdown with it.
Yep. Absolutely.
But that's another thing.
Yep. Yep.
Microsoft love to fumble.
But we shall see. It's only 2 weeks away now. But yes, ladies, gents, everyone in chat, everyone who listens, thank you very much for your time today. Jen, it's been a blast. Let people know where they can find you, brother, and what you've got coming up.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Twitch where I stream for the same @name under my General C name here, the General C. That's me pretty much everywhere on Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo Switch as well, but you need a silly Nintendo code, and I don't remember that off by heart.
Yep. Yeah. If you add them on Twitter and then go on to Nintendo, you should be able to locate them using the Twitter Connect. It's the easiest way to add people instead of you putting your social security number in with the blood of a virgin.
But yeah, I'll be back to streaming in the week, as well as See You Tuesdays, and back for the main show. I don't think we've got a weekend show next weekend, have we?
Nope, but the
Unless
weekend
some
after
big
that
news
is going to be
drops.
busy.
Yep.
Yeah, so next week's going to be a little bit light, guys. So of course next week we'll have Sea of Tuesdays, and we'll have the midweek mix-up. For those of you who usually catch us on Box and Builder's World of Gaming, he is on holiday next week, so there is no World of Gaming. Same for the week after. However, of course, after this week with Sea of Tuesdays and midweek mix-up on Wednesday, the following week is the start of all the showcases, and we are covering them all. So, of course, we'll be back with our last and final prediction show on the Wednesday before the showcase. I'm going to get a few guests lined up for that one as well. So that'll be covering our final predictions and wants for the Xbox showcase prior to it going live, as well as a few predictions for the Summer Game Fest show, which is the day after. We'll be covering the Summer Game Fest showcase on Thursday. We'll also then be covering the Xbox showcase on the Sunday.
It's a big one, that is.
Big
That
one.
is a big one.
Yeah. We'll then be covering the Ubisoft showcase on Monday, and then the Xbox Extended showcase on the Tuesday. Following all of those shows, we'll be live over on Boxing Burger's channel doing the post-show breakdown as well. So, of course, you can catch us pretty much everywhere. So, next week's going to be nice and light. It's going to be kind of a relaxed week before the storm. And then the week after, it's going to be all guns blazing, content coming out of your ears. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
I really can't wait to see what's that terrible pirate game from Ubisoft? Skull and Bones, for the God knows how many time.
I'd love to be able to speak about that, but I can't. All I'll say is, if that game is still coming out this year, or anywhere near this year, it needs serious work.
Hopefully, Ubisoft has a decent show. They've got a Star Wars game that they're working on, and I hope they don't fuck it up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they can't afford to. They can't afford to. And Avatar, which I'm looking forward to seeing. But, ladies, gents, everybody, I hope you enjoyed the show. Please make sure you drop a like and subscribe before you leave. And share it out if you can as well. That always helps. But until next time, guys, thank you very much for stopping by. Hope you have an awesome evening. And for those of you in the UK, I hope you have an awesome bank holiday Monday. Have a nice lie-in if you have got the time off work. If you don't, have an awesome evening anyway. And we shall see you all again next week for the Midweek Mix-Up podcast. Have a good one, and goodbye.
Take it easy, chat. See you later.
Ice and flame, call my name. I freeze, I burn, I blame. I love, I hate the same. On my face, I cannot hide from the mistake my parents made. I'm never moving on. Not made from love, a remnant of a selfish motive. Was I needed? Do I need it to go wrong? Polarized, inherent pain pumping through my veins. Inside of me, I only fuel the fire. But is it wrong for me to fight against the balance of my power? History in halves, one brain. I will break the chain. Oh no, tokori wa yobu. Moeru rame koru to boku no ai to kirai ni iru. Oh no, tokori wa yobu. Moeru rame koru to boku no ai to kirai ni iru. I love